say okay, SFAPI. Yeah, okay. So these are called as SFAPIs. That's SOAP based. So SF data center, SFAPI data center. You need to come to this particular data dictionary. So what you will see here, you will see a note over here. Okay, SFAPI is depreciated from 2018. Use OData for new development and considering moving the legacy application. So that is what SAP is also recommending. Okay, so this is depreciated. So if you see, these are all the APIs, SOAP-based APIs, all are depreciated. Okay, you will see this entire list is depreciated, but only we were talking about the compound employee. You will find it in the list ABC. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so only this compound employee is not depreciated. So when you expand, you will see more details about this compound employee. So more details about this compound employee. So basically, when I say this, means this compound employee is capable of pulling most of the EC related data. So you can use this single API to fetch the different portlets. We call it as portlets in SuccessFactors. Portlets means you can just think of a if you are comparing it with your ABAP or ABAP table, so you can just consider this as a different views kind of thing, where let's say you are having material related data in your Mara, and if you are fetching some information from MARC or MARD, probably you can consider those as different views or tables, subtables you can. So those are being called as portlets in SuccessFactors. So let's say I'm having a compound employee. Okay, so what kind of information I can have? Some person information, some address information. I can have some employment information. I can have some job information. I can have compensation information. So these kind of information I can have within my SuccessFactors, and how to pull this information, we can use this compound employee API, and these are the different portlets. Okay, so person is one portlet, address, phone information, employment information, or job information, like the different portlets, and these portlets are interlinked as well. Means basically there is a parent-child relationship is also maintained, so we call it as a navigation. Okay, navigation. So this navigation comes when you are using your OData APIs. Okay, OData V2 APIs, when you are using that time, this navigation will come, and you should have understanding how to build the OData queries as well. So if you do not know, probably you can just explore it, how to build an OData query, because if you do not know how to build an OData query, then it would be difficult for pulling data from SuccessFactors. Okay, so that is pretty simple. So there are primarily couple of query parameters that you need to take care of. That's it. Like $select, you will have $top or $filter or $expand. Probably the spelling mistake, probably you can just refer it. So these are some of the query parameters basically you can use. If you have worked on SAP Network Gateway, or I think people who are from Fiori background, they should be aware of this. So if you know some of the syntax of OData queries, that will help you to build a query. So coming back to this compound employee, you will have all this information. Okay, so you can explore it. So what I would like to show you, the data itself. Okay, if I should have saved it somewhere. Okay, cool. This is where. Okay, so your compound employee will look like this, and inside your compound employee, you will have your first. So again, it's an XML structure. Okay, so within your compound employee, you are having person. So this is going to be a root node about each employee. Okay, so right now there are two compound employees. Means this particular payload is holding two set of records. Okay, so when you click on this compound employee, and within your person you will have all these details. So within person you can have the birth name, date of birth, all this information. Same way your phone information, having email information, employment information. So why I'm showing you, because the requirement would be like the business, they are expecting some information from your phone information, from email information. So let's say they are planning to design an alert management system, let's say. Okay, so like we have corona or any natural calamity has arisen to a particular geolocation. You want your system to be intelligent enough to send an alert to all the employees who are part of that particular geolocation or that particular area. Okay, so how can you identify? Using this address information. Similarly, like your person information, you will under this person information you will have an address information. Since I have not selected, that's the reason it is not coming here. So you can have that address information. From that address information, you can, based on that address information, you will build a logic. And now how to send an alert? Probably you would be sending an SMS. So that phone information you can fetch it from the phone information portlet. Same way you will be simultaneously sending some email alert to that particular consultant. So you will be using this email information portlet. Okay, and similarly under the employment information you will have a job information. Okay, so job information means who is the manager, what is the cost center, what are his wage type, all this information, manager ID, location, what is his work location, what is the basically the shift rates. Okay, and whether that employee is active or inactive, all this information that specific to job information related events you will be getting through the job information portlet. Couple of fields that are very much important that I would like to highlight here. One is, so for each set of record within your SuccessFactors, so your SuccessFactor data actually relies on your dates. Okay, so if someone has worked on that SCM kind of scenario, on-prem system SCM, so you might have heard of BACDA and we call it. Okay, so that's the when that employee has started, begin date or end date. Okay, so similarly within our SuccessFactors, every portlet or every set of information will have a start date, means when that particular event has started or initiated or basically active, we can say. So start date means when that particular piece of information is going to be active within the system, and end date means now that particular information is no more valid. So we call it as start date. Okay, start date. We have something as end date, and so start date we also refer it as effective date. Okay, so we call it as effective date as well, means from which date it is going to be effective. So that depends on the start date. There is one more field as last modified date as well. So this field is very important, means when this particular record is modified, last modified date. Okay, so this date is very important when you will be building your queries or building your integrations. Why it is very important? So if you remember, when we had used that write variable, so we stored somewhere in our local variable. We created local variable, and within our iFlow, even in the dummy project, we initiated one variable. We stored the start date or the current date, and at last we stored it in a local variable, so that when our iFlow will run next time, it will pull the last run date variable. So this last modified date is very important to build a logic. In a sense, let's say I'm thinking to build a payroll related integration. Okay, so what I'm expecting within my payroll related information, let's say I need to run a payroll on every 15th of this month. Okay, I'm running a payroll in every 15th of this month. So what kind of data I'm going to send to the bank? Okay, so if there is a change in any of the primary fields, let's say my address is getting changed, I need to update to bank. Okay, if my phone number is changed, I want to inform to my bank. If my bank, basically not the bank, basically I need to inform to my payroll vendor. Okay, so that the salary is properly credited. So if there is a change in my bank, I need to send. Okay, if there is a change in my name, I need to update. So these are the some of the fields which I am expecting in case of any change. I want to send these details to my payroll vendor. Okay, plus some other kind of information might be there. If there is change in the manager, let's say my manager is changed, and there is a change in my compensation. Okay, and I'm expecting some bonus, one-time payment. So all these business bonus. Okay, so all this business kind of scenario you are considering to be sent to a payroll file. Okay, so let's say your payroll file ran on 15th for employee A. Okay, with this set of information. With this set of information means might be any of the field from these portlets got changed. So I'm sending the record to my payroll vendor again. So let's say today is 15th July, let's say. Okay, now again my payroll will run on 15th of August, let's say. Okay, so within this 30 days period, okay, there is no change in employee A's record, means I am not expected to send this record to the payroll vendor. Let's say there is some change in the address field on 20th of July for B, employee B, let's say. Okay, so only employee B record should be moved. So that is where your last modified date will come into picture, means you will run your query based on last modified date. So let me again take you back to this XML. You might be I don't know how many of you are relating it, but my suggestion is just listen this recording once again. You will be able to understand. Okay, just this particular section why I just mentioning last modified date. Okay, so you will understand what I mean to say. And if you see here in this, you will see a last modified on. Okay, so last modified on with a date timestamp you will see over here. So you will be using this particular field to read the valid set of record. And same way, so you will get a valid set of record with last modified. Based on last modified, there can be a change on this particular employee. Let's say I'm just considering that employee B record is changed. What is changed here? Let's say he is expected to transfer from India to US. Okay, India to US he is moving, means it's a transfer case. Okay, when he is transferring, basically he is expected to transfer on 30th of August. Okay, so means his cost center is going to be effective on 30th of August. So do you expect this record should be flown to the payroll? This record should not flow to the payroll, because when this payroll will run on 15th, okay, this record should not be part, because this is not a current record. Basically, this is not effective dated record. Okay, so I am expecting the changes which are until 15th of August. So I'm not expecting this particular record. So, but if I use the last modified query, this record will be pulled in my query. But I am not supposed to send, because this is a future dated record. Okay, so this is a future dated record. I am not expecting this particular record to be flowing to the target. So how to handle this case? There is another type of query that is called delta or period delta. Okay, so here what you will be doing, so we are only talking about this compound employee. So there are three parameters where you will be passing this last modified date, and you will be passing another field as to date and from date. Okay. So using these three fields, your entire set of records will be fetched. Means it will check for the period within these two fields. Okay. If it is valid between these two fields from to date and from date and the last modified, it will identify whether that particular record is an effective dated record or not. So probably how my query will look like. So my last modified will have a date of, so when this record got changed, this record got changed on 20th of July. Okay, so my last modified, let's say if I run a query like this, or let's say not 9, or let me take it at 19 July. Okay, and I am expecting the changes from 19 July, okay, to let's say 15th of August, or yeah, or probably we will just make it from 15th of August as per our payroll cycle. Okay, so our last payroll ran on 15 July. So after our payroll run, we will start identifying the changes based on last modified, and from to date, I am expecting from 15 July until 15th of August. Okay, so in that case, only my employee B record will come. Let me take another entry over here. Okay, so let's say there is a salary hike. Okay, there is a hike or change in, or there is some one-time bonus is there. Okay, one-time car allowance, let's say, and that is effective on, let's say, 14th of August. For the same employee, there are two events or two entries are made. One, this one is a future dated, and this is on 14th. Basically, it will fall under our period. So what will happen when we run using this particular statement? It will pull me this particular record because it is effective on 14th of August. Okay, and when I will run on 15th of September, that time my next record will come with a delta. If I run it with delta, but this particular record will come. And what would be my query? My query parameters will have these three set of fields. So now my last modified I will be considering as 15th of August, and from 15th to that until 15th of August, September. Okay. So again, these three fields are very important based on your logic. If you want to run your payroll on daily basis or weekly basis, this to date and from date, you have to make adjustment. Okay. So there can be a scenario if you are running, if you are just park your question if anyone has. Let me discuss one more scenario. Let's say you are working for a very big organization where you are having multiple offices across different countries. Okay, so you are having an office in India, you are having some office in US, and you are having some Canada, you are having under Japan or Singapore, and you are having okay, under EMEA there are various. So all these will have corresponding cost centers. Okay, and they might be running payrolls on different dates. Okay, so for, let's say for India it is running on 15, it is running on weekly, or you can say every Friday. Okay, and let's say I want this to be on 3rd, of every month. I want this to be running on again 14th every month, 14th, and on 13th or end of the month. So basically I want this to run twice in a month, okay, every 15 days, okay, and again it might be running on 8th, let's say. So now you got 5 different iFlows. You need to design 5 different iFlows, and you have to schedule these iFlows based on this particular date, okay. And when I say your payroll needs to be run for this particular date, means this particular date is configured somewhere in your SuccessFactors system as pay run date. So your SuccessFactors consultant will be configuring this pay run date. So what you will be doing, you will be reading the cost center, and based on that cost center you will be checking whether the pay run date is falling under this particular. Basically if it's a India cost center, that if it is pay run date is falling, the current date basically will be matching. When you're running your iFlow, you will be matching your current date with the pay run date. If it is 15, then your India payroll will run. If it is cost center belongs to US, similarly you have to design. So that would be your main logic. So again, pay run date, how you are going to get, you will be using any API. That has to be a API. So your SuccessFactors consultant, or if you know, then you will be using that API to identify, and you, based on that API, you will be getting that pay run date, and you will be checking. And what that is, once you have identified that this is the correct cost center that is supposed to be running, then you will forming your query. Okay, this particular query you will be forming because you want to pull the data. So again, this period delta and everything will depend on these pay run dates. Okay, so if it is running on every Friday, so you are expecting a weekly change. So whatever changes are happening within a week, you are expecting. Here you are expecting last 30 days or monthly changes. In last 30 days, what are the changes? And here in this case, you are expecting changes in every 15 days. Okay, so that is how you need to build your data queries. And once you get the data, then you are all set. You can build your iFlow, you can design whatever format they are expecting. If any business logic needs to be implemented, you have to implement within your iFlow. If they are expecting a leading zeros to a particular or there is an email, they want to put some prefix, any logic, or they want to do some calculations on the bonus part, all the business logic can very well implement once you are having the data. There is one more field. Okay, I'm taking a pause over here. Any queries? Before I will just show you how the period data will look like, so that you can identify, means how I will know that which particular data is changed actually from the previous date. Any queries on this?
Yeah, Krishna. If the from date and to date you are mentioning here is correct, or maybe I am confusing.
Oh, sorry. You are my bad. Okay, probably that was a typo, and this needs to be moved. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem.
You can make changes to the above as well. August, September. I think, yeah. This from should go to 2. I'm so sorry. You can make changes to here as well. Okay, but I think I was reciting the correct. The only thing is typo.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? No problem. Thank you for letting me know. Any questions? No questions. Okay. So again, this is a very real example. If you are working going to work on any SuccessFactors project, there can be a scenario where you have to integrate the payroll system. Okay, so this is how you need to design, and how the data will look like. I will just show you. So data will look like, in the sense, I should have, okay, so this is my data. So if you see here, there is a field as action. Okay, so this action is change here. So means there is a change in the record. Okay, and how to identify what change? So change, you will have some field as previous tag. Okay, so if you see here, let me, okay, let's take this one. Okay, so there was no field, previous value was existing here, and here and number 0. Okay, like event 6 was the previous, now the current event is 16. Sorry, basically the previous one which I was just mentioning, it was the previous value, and now they have deleted. There is no ERN number. Similarly, the current event is 16, the previous event was 6. So like that, you can check for the changes. So we were just talking about if there is a change in the address. Okay, so you will have some changes in the address portlet as well. Okay, so if there might be a change in the street, so you will have the field name with _previous. So within your Groovy, you need to implement your logic, basically how to identify the changes. If you want to pick the particular change, you have to implement that particular logic. But the main fields which you will be relying on while designing your logic, that would be based on action. Okay, so if the action is no change, means there is no change. And if I see here, employment information, no change, there is a change in the job information. Okay, so you will find some previous tags over here. Okay, so there was some value over here, now they have deleted this. So this is how your data will look like when you will be using the previous tags. Okay, so how this query will look like, I will just quickly show you, and I will be sharing you the previous session recording as well. Okay, just remind me if I missed to do that, because in the previous session I have discussed some other things. This kind of scenario probably I have not discussed this. I thought this will make sense, and you can also have access to the previous video. You can combine both of this and you can have fair understanding.